From a guitar riff that slices through your speakers like a chainsaw, to a slow-burn ballad that became the soundtrack for 1,000 slow dances, to a freak-out jam that stretched the limits of rock itself. These are the 1969 rock songs we'll never forget. Part 2. A year when rock got louder, weirder, and more fearless, and bands started breaking all the rules, or just ignoring them entirely. And one of these tracks, it's a 3-minute blitz that inspired 1,000 punk bands and still sounds dangerous today. Comment if you think you know which song that is. Number 15. Can't Find My Way Home. Blind Faith.
Come down off your throne and leave your body alone.
Two legends, one haunting classic. Can't Find My Way Home is Eric Clapton and Steve Winwood at their most vulnerable, delivering a song that sounds like it was recorded on the back porch of a ghost town. Released on the only album by the short-lived supergroup Blind Faith, it's an acoustic masterpiece. Winwood's high, aching vocals and Clapton's delicate finger-picking weave together like smoke and fire. Lyrically, it's a song about being lost, broken, and searching for something you're not sure you'll ever find. Come down off your throne and leave your body alone. It's spiritual. It's weary. It's beautifully broken. Despite its quiet tone, it became a classic, covered by everyone from Joe Cocker to Bonnie Raitt, and even worked into Clapton's later solo tours. And while Blind Faith burned out fast, this track remains one of the purest, most haunting ballads of the late 60s. And while Clapton and Winwood were trying to find their way, the next band was about to get louder, meaner, and dirtier, with a title track that sounds like it was carved out of a whiskey barrel and left to soak in sin. Number 14. Let It Bleed. The Rolling Stones. If the 60s were dying, the Rolling Stones were already at the wake, and Let It Bleed was their grim toast. This isn't a party track. It's slow, slinky, and drenched in the blues. Mick Jagger slurs his way through lyrics about desperation, betrayal, and getting by when everything's falling apart. And the music? It's loose, raw, and perfectly broken in. Slide guitars, clinking piano, and Keith Richards doing what Keith Richards does best, sounding like he's one bad day away from falling off the edge. Released as the title track for their landmark 1969 album, it's the hangover to Gimme Shelter's Panic Attack. A moment of messy, boozy reflection before the next dive bar brawl. Let It Bleed isn't pretty. And that's exactly why it works. It's a confession, a warning, and a sigh, all at once. And while the Stones were cutting deep into the dark heart of the decade, the next band was launching their own rock opera, with a pinball-playing messiah who would change the game forever. Number 13. Pinball Wizard, The Who.
Ever since I was a young boy, I played the silver ball. From Soho down to Brighton, I must have played them all.
It's all power chords, pounding drums, and Roger Daltrey howling like a man possessed. Pinball Wizard isn't just a song, it's an anthem, and one of The Who's most iconic tracks. Written as part of the rock opera Tommy, the song tells the story of a blind, deaf, and mute kid who becomes a pinball champion. But really? It's about outsiders, underdogs, and finding your superpower in the strangest places. Pete Townshend's guitar riff is a sonic punch in the face. Keith Moon's drumming is chaotic perfection. And Daltrey? He sells every line like it's the last thing he'll ever scream. Released as a single in 1969, it became one of The Who's biggest hits, a concert staple, and a cultural touchstone. It even inspired an entire rock opera film and a Broadway show. It's not just a song, it's a legend. And while The Who were building operas out of rock riffs, the next band was taking a blues classic and setting it on fire, turning a haunted woman into a guitar god's calling card. Number 12, Black Magic Woman, Santana.
Got your spell on me, baby.
It starts with that slinking, hypnotic guitar line, a riff that feels like it's winding its way through smoky clubs and shadowy alleys. Black Magic Woman wasn't originally a Santana track. It was written by Peter Green of Fleetwood Mac in 1968. But when Carlos Santana got his hands on it, it caught fire. Santana's version, released in 1969, turned a bluesy shuffle into a Latin-tinged psychedelic journey. He stretched the song out, adding congas, organ swells, and a sense of dark mysticism that was missing in the original. And when Santana played it live at Woodstock, it exploded. That guitar tone, haunting, the solos, soul-scorching. And the way it slides into Gypsy Queen at the end, pure genius. It became one of Santana's signature tracks, a radio staple, and a song that still echoes through the halls of classic rock radio like a ghost you can't shake. And while Santana was casting spells on his guitar, the next artist was staking his claim as rock's ultimate loner, with a song that would set the tone for a career full of contradictions, heartbreak, and burning bridges. Number 11, The Loner, Neil Young.
He's a perfect stranger, like a cross of himself.
He's haunted, he's restless, he's uncompromising. And The Loner was the world's first real taste of Neil Young's dark genius. Released on his 1969 self-titled solo debut, this track is all grit and mood. It's got that haunting minor key guitar line, that sharp, reverb-soaked tone, and Young's trademark vocal style, half croon, half wounded animal. Lyrically, it's a character sketch of a man cut off from the world, wandering through his own broken landscape. He's a perfect stranger, like a cross of himself and a fox. It's cryptic, personal, totally Neil. The song didn't chart high, but it set the tone for his career. A man alone, following his own path, and never caring much about fitting in. Decades later, The Loner still hits like a cold wind, and we hit you like a cold wind if you do not subscribe right now. It's the outsider anthem for every rock fan who never quite fit into the mainstream. And while Neil was retreating into his own shadow, the next artist was conjuring something completely different. A psychedelic, swampy voodoo spell that could only come from the heart of New Orleans. Number 10, Babylon, Dr. John.
It's bound in a river and lost in a storm.
If New Orleans had a soundtrack, it would sound like Dr. John, and Babylon is one of his weirdest, wildest, and most hypnotic tracks. Released in 1969, this song is a voodoo fever dream. It's swampy, psychedelic, and thick with atmosphere. The horns blare like car horns in a haunted street parade. The drums rumble like a storm over the bayou, and Dr. John's voice, part growl, part chant, part spell. Lyrically, it's a surreal trip through a world on the brink of chaos, part biblical prophecy, part drug-fueled nightmare. I seen the fire that burned Babylon. It's the sound of the end times, and Dr. John sings it like he's already half in the grave. It didn't hit the charts, but it hit the counterculture hard. It became a staple in his live shows and a perfect snapshot of New Orleans' darker, weirder, more dangerous side. And while Dr. John was summoning spirits in the French Quarter, the next band was about to tear through the speakers with a blast of pure, uncut rock fury. Number 9, Ooh, Mama, Ooh, Moby Grape.
You really such a tease.
If you don't know Moby Grape, you're missing out on one of the most underrated bands of the late 60s. Ooh Mama Ooh is a perfect example of why they deserve more love. It's short, fast, and absolutely electric, a burst of rock and roll energy that feels like it was recorded in the middle of a bar fight. Released on their 1969 album Truly Fine Citizen, it's a track that leans into the chaos. Loud guitars, manic vocals, and a rhythm section that sounds like it's always a half step away from a breakdown, but there's structure beneath the madness. The song hits hard, but it's also weirdly tight. Each instrument locked in like a fist, throwing punches with every note. It never hit the charts, but it's a cult favorite among Grape fans and a perfect example of the band's raw, unpolished brilliance. And while Moby Grape were tearing up the stage with their brand of garage chaos, the next artist on our list was crafting something slower, softer, and downright hypnotic. A song that would define the end of the 60s with its dreamlike vibe. Number 8. Crimson and Clover. Tommy James and the Shondells. Dreamy, trippy, totally of its time. Crimson and Clover is one of those tracks that feels like the late 60s. All reverb-soaked vocals, hazy guitars, and a chorus that just melts into your brain. Released as a single in late 1968, but really hitting its stride in 1969, this song marked a massive shift for Tommy James and the Shondells. They went from bubblegum pop hits like I Think We're Alone Now to this psychedelic masterpiece, and it worked. It hit number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100, sold millions of copies, and became a defining song of the era. It's been covered by Joan Jett, Prince, and Billy Idol. And its sound influenced everyone from The Cure to My Bloody Valentine. It's not just a song, it's a vibe. One that echoes through the decades like a smoke ring blown in slow motion. And while Tommy James was floating through a Technicolor daydream, the next band was busy crafting a track that was all muscle, riffs, and rock royalty. Number 7. Badge. Cream. Two guitar gods, one unforgettable song. Badge is a strange, beautiful hybrid of psychedelia, blues, and classic rock, a track that perfectly captures the end of the 60s in just under 3 minutes. Co-written by Eric Clapton and George Harrison, it's one of the last tracks Cream ever recorded, and it feels like a farewell letter wrapped in a guitar solo. The title? A mistake. Harrison misread bridge in Clapton's notes, and the name stuck. But the music? No mistake at all. The song builds slowly, clean guitars, subtle harmonies, and then breaks into one of the tastiest guitar licks Clapton ever laid down. It's bittersweet, it's beautiful, and it's perfectly imperfect. A fitting goodbye for a band that burned out as fast as it rose. And while Clapton and Harrison were trading guitar licks, the next band was building a counterculture anthem that would turn every concert into a call to arms and leave a trail of blown speakers in its wake. Number 6, Volunteers, Jefferson Airplane.
Look what's happening out in the street. Got a revolution. Hey!
Look what's happening out in the streets. From the very first line, Volunteers is a call to arms. Released in 1969, this track is Jefferson Airplane at their most political, raw, and defiant. It's got all the hallmarks of the band's sound, snarling guitars, tight harmonies, and a full-throttle chorus that demands to be screamed, not sung. Written by Marty Balin and Paul Kantner, the song captures the chaos, optimism, and anger of the late 60s. It's a revolutionary anthem, plain and simple, a soundtrack for marches, protests, and late-night strategy sessions. Musically, It's a garage rock banger with a touch of psychedelia, anchored by Jack Cassidy's thunderous bass and Spencer Dryden's relentless drumming. It's fast, it's furious, it's unapologetically loud. Volunteers became a counterculture staple, a festival favorite, and a call to action that still feels urgent decades later. And while Jefferson Airplane were preaching rebellion, the next band was setting the stage for a career-defining, jaw-dropping performance that would burn itself into the DNA of rock forever. Number 5. I'm Going Home, 10 years after. If you want to hear the sound of a guitar catching fire, this is it. I'm Going Home isn't just a song, it's a force of nature, a speed freak blues explosion that guitarist Alvin Lee used to light up Woodstock in 1969. The studio version is great, but the live version? At Woodstock? It's a rampage. Pure, uncut, high-octane rock and roll. Lee's fingers fly across the fretboard like a chainsaw through a pile of amps. The rhythm section pounds like a stampede. And the crowd loses it. I'm Going Home became Lee's signature track, a career-defining moment that still holds up as one of the fastest, loudest, and most intense performances in rock history. It's the kind of song that leaves a mark on the audience, the stage, and the band itself. And while Alvin Lee was breaking sound barriers, the next artist on our list was taking things in a completely different direction, slowing down, going deep, and finding a whole new voice in the process. Number 4, Lay Lady Lay, Bob Dylan. Forget the nasal twang. Forget the protest anthems. Lay Lady Lay is Bob Dylan like you've never heard him. Smooth, crooning, and downright tender. Released on his Nashville Skyline album in 1969, it marked a massive shift in Dylan's sound. Gone were the political manifestos and finger-pointing lyrics. In their place, warmth, romance, and a voice so deep it sounds like a completely different person. Legend has it, Dylan's voice changed because he quit smoking. But whatever the reason, it worked. The song's slide guitar, gentle percussion, and slow, hypnotic pulse create a dreamy, late-night vibe that's perfect for the lyrics. It hit the top 10 in the US and became one of Dylan's most beloved tracks, proof that the man who changed rock once could do it again. And while Dylan was singing his heart out, the next band on our list was stretching their minds and their set lists. With a track so cosmic it practically invented a new genre. Number 3, Dark Star, Grateful Dead. It's not a song, it's a journey. Dark Star is the Grateful Dead at their most experimental, cosmic, and mind-bending. It's the cornerstone of their live shows, a track that could stretch from 3 minutes to over 30, depending on the night, the mood, and the crowd's energy. First released as a single in 1968, it found its true home in 1969, when the Dead started playing it live and stretching it into a psychedelic odyssey. It's built on a 2-chord vamp, but what they do with those 2 chords is limitless. Jerry Garcia's guitar spirals through space. Phil Lesh's bass rumbles like a distant planet. And the lyrics? A cosmic poem written by Robert Hunter. Illusions, metaphors, and mystical imagery that hit like a haiku in a windstorm. It's the ultimate jam track, a song that evolves every time it's played, and a piece of music that defines the Dead's freeform spirit. And while the Dead were drifting through the void, the next band was about to kick the door off its hinges with a blast of pure, unfiltered rock fury that still makes speakers shake. Number 2, Kick Out the Jams, MC5.
Kick out the jams, motherfucker! Yeah!
Kick out the jams, mother-s. That's how you open a track. MC5 weren't here to jam, they were here to detonate. Released in 1969, Kick Out the Jams is a Molotov cocktail thrown into the face of the mainstream. Loud, fast, unapologetically raw. Recorded live at the Grande Ballroom in Detroit, it captures a band at full volume, riding the edge of chaos. The guitars shred, the drums pound, the vocals scream like a manifesto. It was proto-punk before punk had a name, and it influenced everyone from The Clash to Nirvana. It was banned from radio, condemned by politicians, and it still makes modern rock sound tame by comparison. Kick Out the Jams didn't just break the rules, it spit on them, set them on fire, and kept playing. And while MC5 were blowing up amps and breaking boundaries, the final track on our list was pushing rock to its primal, animalistic limit, and creating a sound that would become the blueprint for punk, metal, and everything in between. Number 1, I Wanna Be Your Dog, The Stooges.
Don't mess up! I want you here!
Raw, primal, absolutely unhinged, I Wanna Be Your Dog by the Stooges isn't just a song, it's a sonic mugging. A track that grabs you by the collar, drags you into the dirt, and howls in your face. Released in 1969, it's 3 minutes of pure, unfiltered aggression. Iggy Pop sneers his way through the lyrics, sounding like he's one bad day away from a breakdown. Ron Asheton's guitar riff hits like a sledgehammer. Just 3 chords repeated over and over until your brain starts to melt. And that pounding piano note, like a jackhammer breaking through concrete. It didn't chart, it didn't get radio play, but it changed everything. Punk, metal, grunge, they all owe a debt to this one snarling, growling, vicious track. It's ugly, it's brutal, and it's perfect. And while Iggy and the Stooges were barking their way into rock history, the next year would bring even more chaos, noise, and revolution, because rock and roll never stays quiet for long. These were the 1969 rock songs we'll never forget. Part 2. From psychedelic freakouts to bluesy barn burners, from cosmic jams to bare-knuckle garage rock, these tracks pushed boundaries, broke rules, and set the stage for the wild 70s that were just around the corner. So which one still makes your speakers rattle? Which song defined your 1969? Drop your favorite in the comments. And if you want to keep the trip going, make sure to check out our other deep dives into 1971, 1976, and 1983. 3 more years that changed rock forever. Click 1 on screen and keep the music alive.